Here's a video on how to gain access to the Y-axis lead screw and rails on a NextWave HD5 machine. It's relatively easy to clean and lubricate the X-axis lead screw and rails as well as the Z-axis lead screw and rails. The problem is the machine is really heavy and it's tough to lift it up in order to gain access to the Y lead screw and rails which are underneath the machine. On a smaller machine such as the SD10, it's relatively easy to get access to the bottom of the machine. You just tip it back and then you can clean the lead screw and the rails. Again, not so easy on the HD5 machine, which weighs substantially more. Now the solution I found was to use hand jacks. You can use this device to raise the machine by squeezing the handle, and you can lower the machine by depressing the tab and letting it down. I used these for a while. The problem I found was that they're not really machined all that well, and you have to really apply a lot of pressure in order to raise a heavy machine like this. You know, if you're younger, it's probably not a problem, but when you have older arthritic hands, it gets to be a problem. And the other thing I had was that when I tried to release the machine by hitting the tab, it didn't go down really smoothly in small increments. It was kind of hit or miss. So that was a problem. So I came up with a solution to that as well. Just recently, Irwin, DeWalt, and Stanley each came out with their own version of these hand jacks. As you can see, they're substantially bigger. The gearing in it works much easier. It doesn't take much of a squeeze at all to raise it. And when you go to lower it, it releases it in tiny little increments. So it's much safer to bring the machine down. Now the Irwin, DeWalt, and Stanley hand jacks are all very similar because they're all made by the same company. And the problem is they're a little expensive. They're about $99 a piece. Whereas you can get two of the smaller hand jacks off of Amazon for as little as $24. Now for me it was worth purchasing the more expensive hand jacks, but it might not be for you. You can get by with the cheaper hand jacks. They work. It's just a little bit more difficult. Or you might find a solution by just purchasing one or two of the more expensive hand jacks and then using the cheaper ones to hold the machine up once you have it jacked up with the better hand jack. It's up to you. Now let me show you how to do it. Now the first step of the process is you need to remove the sheet metal dust shield on each side of the machine. And you do so by taking off the 4 screws. There's 2 on each side. And next I'll loosen the shield on the other side of the machine. Now it's easiest to start jacking the machine from the back. As you can see, the back of the machine is resting on the table surface. So what we have to do is we start with the gantry in the middle of the machine in order to distribute the weight more evenly. Slide the metal shield that you loosened forward to make some room. And you take one of your jacks and you go from the side. And you just need to jack the machine up a very little bit. That gives you enough clearance here to slide another jack under and start lifting from the back. Now as you can see, I used the exact same technique. I slid the rail forward, put a jack on the side, lifted the machine up just enough where I could slide another jack in from the back. Now you take the jack that you used to raise the machine from the sides and you come to the front. Now I only use one jack in the front of the machine. By the way, these jacks have a quick release, so you can quickly just lower the jack down. I'll go right in the center, right above the motor. Now the machine is supported by 3 jacks, 1 in the front, 2 in the back. All I do now is walk around and raise the machine at each jack little by little. The reason I raise it at each jack little by little is I don't want to tilt the machine too much. So I take the front up a little, then I go to the rear of the machine, raise those 2 jacks up, come back to the front, take it up a little bit more, take it up a little bit more. I want to try to keep the machine pretty level when you finish. And that's it, the machine's jacked. As you can see now, with the machine jacked up, I have plenty of clearance to get under there to clean and lubricate the lead screw and the rails. Before I start cleaning and lubricating, I like to put some newspapers underneath the machine to keep everything clean. Now most of the time, you can get by with just wiping down the rails and the lead screw with a paper towel. Every once in a while, if you have a lot of dust or debris under there, you might want to use a soft bristle brush to clean out any debris from inside the lead screw. Every once in a while, it's a good idea to clean any kind of goop or buildup off the rails. So in this case, I just use a light coat of acetone. Just put a little on a paper towel, and I wipe down the rails in the back. I get the lead screw. I get the far rail. And you can see there's some degree of buildup on there that needs to be cleaned off. Now slide the rails towards the back of the machine. Put some acetone on your paper towel. And clean the front rail and lead screws. Now, in order to be thorough, you want to move the gantry either forward or backward in order to clean where the gantry was sitting. And now we take some acetone, put it on a paper towel, and we can clean the surface of the rails where the gantry was sitting. Get the lead screw in the center, and get the far rail. Now once again, I center the gantry. Now this is a lubricant that NextWave recommends for using on their machines. It's DuPont silicone lubricant, but as you can see, it contains Teflon. And they highly recommend having Teflon in lubricant that you use on the machine. NextWave recommends a very thin coat of lubricant on the machine. So rather than spray on the rails and the lead screw, sometimes I just spray it onto the paper towel, and then I wipe that onto the rails to get them lubricated. Now I'll do the back of the machine. You just slide the guard forward. Now since the lead screws have some deep grooves, I tend to spray that directly onto them. Now that you have the rails and the lead screw lubricated, it's a really good idea to move the gantry forward and back a few times to spread the lubrication. When you want to move the rails back, don't forget to move the sheet metal dust guards back. Now the last thing you need to do with the rails and lead screw is take a paper towel and clean off any excess lubricant off the rails and lead screw. Don't forget to remove the newspaper. Now all it's left to do is to lower the machine. Now remember, do it in small increments so you don't want to tilt the machine too far in any direction. I really like the fine control you have with these release triggers. Take the front down a little bit, then we'll lower the back. Take the front down again. Now the front's all the way down. Now remember with the back, we can't go all the way down because it would pinch the arm jack between the machine and the table. So we take the other arm jack, we go to the side, support it, then we can take out the back arm jack. And if you lift the machine high enough, you don't have to go to the other side. It'll come down nicely. Now we lower the side. And now just reattach the dust guard. And that's it. Now the Y-axis rails and lead screw are cleaned and lubricated. Now some people have found it really difficult to be able to access the linear rail bearings that sit behind the router holder. I've got a solution for that, and I'll post that in a future video. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful.